What, oh, man. What do you call a bunch of sheep rolling down a hill?
What?
A landslide.
Okay, I like that.
Thank you.
Where did people hang out in medieval times?
Where?
At night clubs.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right.
Okay.
My wife asked me to stop singing Wonderwall to her, so I said maybe.
I like that.
You like that one?
You should have sung it, okay?
Oh, okay. My wife asked me to stop singing Wonderwall to her. I said, maybe.
Much better.
Welcome to the Geeky Go-Go Podcast, a show where we talk about all things geeky. Movies, TV shows, tech, comic books, cosplay, and more. If it has something to do with being a geek, well, we'll talk about it here. My name is Anthony Pizzuto. Let's get this party started. Joining me today in the Go-Go are the amazing Chris Nitro and Eric Ho. All right, now before we dive into today's topic discussion of our favorite canceled TV shows, let's do our highlights and lowlights. Eric, what was your highlight or lowlight this week, or both?
I am going to Taiwan next week. So I've been doing a lot of packing. I started playing a new video game. There's a game called Wukong, which is like this. I don't know. Have you heard of the Monkey King? Like this Chinese story about the Monkey King.
I think the comic book. I don't know if.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a whole thing. But there's a Chinese game developer that made this game based on, I don't know, like some story after the Monkey King kind of situation. It is right now the most like downloaded video game on Steam, Steam, and I don't know why I say stream, on Steam, and they say this is probably one of the first Chinese games, like China-made games, to have like made it to like mainstream audience around the world.
Really?
So I started playing it on the PlayStation, which is very exciting. It's got great graphic. It's RPG-esque.
Okay.
Kind of situation. I'm just slowly making my way through it right now. It's a gorgeous looking game, and so I'm excited about that. And then for some reason I started really getting into coffee again this week.
Okay.
I used to run a coffee shop, and it's been quite a while where I have been doing that, and I bought a siphon coffee system. I don't know if you've seen those, like a beaker, like you use like a almost like a burner.
Yeah. Oh my! So you're like hoity-toity coffee.
Oh yeah, this is about as extra as you can get when it gets
God.
to making coffee, and so I've been doing that all week. So that's like a highlight
That's
of my week.
that's awesome.
No lowlights.
No lowlights. I love it. This video game, is it based in the comic book universe, or is it based in the mythology of the Monkey King?
I think it's a completely new story.
Got it.
I'm just beginning to play, so I haven't seen the whole story. But yeah, I think it's just the beginning of a brand new story.
That's awesome. And hey, Chris, did you hear how he humbled bragged that he ran a coffee shop? Wow.
That's right. In college
Such a-
at NYU.
Such a humble brag. And you're going to Taiwan. How long are you going to be in Taiwan for?
I'm gonna probably be there for like a month. 3 weeks maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen my dad in like 5 years, so it's time to go kind of say hi.
All right, yeah. So wait, so is it just going to be the Chris and AP show for the next 3 weeks?
I can dial in. I got nothing to do, you know.
What are you, 8 hours ahead of us?
12 hours.
12 hours.
So it's fine. Regular recording time is regular recording time. So
All right.
You could phone it
There you
in
go.
too. Do this the Eric abroad segment and send us the video.
that's right. Mang on the street.
You can be our Taiwan correspondent. Give us all
Yeah.
the geeky updates.
This is turning into like the Tonight Show.
I love it. Awesome.
That's all I got.
All right, cool. Hey, Nitro, what about you? What are your highlights and lowlights?
No real lowlights to speak of. Highlight, I mean, at least for me and my son, more for my son than me. He's super excited. We got a Lego City express passenger train. So this is a powered up version, like that Lego calls it. They actually comes with a little battery pack and a little motor. the battery pack is just a housing for like 6 AAAs. So it's not really a true battery pack. It's just this empty shell that holds batteries. But it has its own little controller, where you can increase speed, decrease speed, go backwards with the motors and stuff like that. Plug and play, connect thing. And so, it comes with 3 cars, a track and whatnot, and little all the little minifigures and stuff like that. So he's super excited about the whole thing. Like, he was thanking us to no end about how awesome this thing is. But yeah, we got to build it, and that's pretty much it. It was a quick build too, like maybe a couple of hours. It's a lot of empty space because it's like a real train car. So you're building a shell, and there's nothing really in the middle. So yeah, maybe a couple of hours build, do the whole thing with the tracks and whatnot.
Send us pictures. We'll put them in the show notes.
Sure.
That's exciting. Was this just a spur of the moment buy, or was there like a birthday, or did he do well in camp, or
was it a Legoland purchase?
Oh, a Legoland purchase. Yeah.
So we had purchased him a creator train set. So we know Lego has different brands and themes and stuff like that. And the creator line is kind of like just classic, like Lego things that are very stationary and stuff like that. But Lego City is this whole thing where you could add whatever and all the little compartments and stuff like that. I haven't really looked at it because Lego City's not my thing, but obviously he's very into it. But the Lego Creator brand and so my wife got, and I didn't really pay attention because it was just the hubbub of being in Legoland and everything's in the store. It's overwhelming. Mm-hmm. It's a creator train that comes with the engine and a car behind it, and then she bought tracks. The creator train has no tracks for it, and so that he got super bummed out, because the train wouldn't fit in the tracks. The train is a smaller scale. Mm-hmm. I tried to go on online and see if we could fix it or something like that, or get different tracks for it. They do not make the tracks at all. They said the only thing that kind of works, but you kind of have to jerry rig it and get it done yourself, is you have to make roller coaster tracks. It's just a different scale, and the train would fit on the roller coaster tracks, but then you can't really do anything. Yeah. It would just go in a straight line. So I felt really bad. He was really bummed out, super bummed out.
I can imagine.
And my wife was like, "Hey, this." She didn't buy that big set because she's like, it's really expensive. It's motorized. It has headlights on it. Mm-hmm. So she's like, I'm not spending all that money on that. But he was I'm telling you, he was so bummed out that the train wouldn't fit in the tracks. Oh my God. I was like, we just got to do it. So It was a post Legoland purchase, but yes, definitely related to Legoland.
You should have asked Uncle Anthony to print some Lego tracks.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. I'm sure they exist.
I would have pounded those out.
Possibly. I couldn't find anything. I said, everyone was pointing to, you should build a railroad, a roller coaster track, and then that train would fit on the roller coaster track.
Hey, speaking of train, this just reminded me. There was an estate sale, maybe last week that I saw. There's a train museum here in New Jersey that's closing down.
Yep.
And if anyone wants to buy trains, PSA, there's a lot of trains on sale.
It's down in Flemington, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think it's in Flemington. I feel like Hannon has done that trip. But yeah, it is a bummer. And I think during the wintertime, they used to do the Polar Express and stuff like that. So yeah, it's R.I.P. Train Museum. But glad that your little one got some makeup Legos. All right, and then I'll wrap us up. So my highlight for the week was I was in Columbus, Ohio, and for those of you who don't know, I used to work for Victoria's Secret, which was owned by L Brands /Limited Brands, and they actually had an alumni reunion there this week. And so while I was in town for work, I was able to swing over to the reunion and catch up with some folks that I haven't seen in so long. And so that was such a treat to just see old coworkers, old friends, and just reconnect with people. It's always a joy. I hope they make it a relatively regular thing. Do you guys stay in touch with coworkers from former places of employment?
Select few.
Select few. Yeah. Yeah. I don't do a good job of staying in touch with people. So this was a good way to like reconnect with folks that you used to work so closely with, and then you move on and it's like you never see them again. So anyway, that was certainly the highlight. And the low light. Oh, Chris, I don't know if I got your low light. Did you have a low light?
No, I started off with no real lowlights of the week, just a mundane work week and whatnot.
Perfect. Got it. My low light is this stupid deck. The stupid deck that I feel like I've been talking about for like the last 6 episodes. But today I finally made progress. It's beginning to look like a deck. I put decking on 2 steps. And when I'm done with this recording, I'm going to finish the last 3 steps. And then I should be able to have this whole deck project complete by next weekend. So, but I'm never doing another deck. I hate this deck. Just hire someone. People, don't do it yourself. It's not worth the energy. And by the time you factor in your hourly wage and the amount of time and amount of trips and the amount of mistakes, you've paid for 6 decks. Don't listen to this, honey. So just don't do it yourself. Do something else yourself. Play Monkey King on PlayStation, okay? Anyway, that's my rant.
My dad and I have thought about years ago taking those Home Depot classes on making decks. And we went to one and we go, no, we're going to pay somebody to do this.
Yeah. It's a trap because they want to teach you how to do it. And then you get all excited, like, yeah, I can do this.
And then step down to aisle 10.
Yeah, exactly. 20 trips to Home Depot later, you're poorer, they're richer. So anyway, done with this deck project. All right. Shall we move on to our conversation? It's been a while since we've done a topic show. I'm very excited about this. All right, so let's get into this week's conversation, which is our favorite canceled TV shows. Last week it was announced that Disney canceled Star Wars The Acolyte. Womp womp. Now, while I think I know this was such a bummer. Now, I think we all generally liked the show, but it wasn't a big shock that this ended up on the chopping block. So according to different outlets, this show cost about $180 million to produce 8 episodes, compared to the $100 million it cost to produce Ahsoka and the $120 million it cost to produce Mando Season 3. Why they had to spend an extra $60 million on this, I am shocked. They clearly didn't spend it on Torben's beard. That's all I have to say about that. Now, while we understand that it costs a lot of money...
Is that really all you're going to say about that?
No. Torben bashing may come up a few times in today's episode. So, while we understand that it costs a lot of money to put on a show, what causes a streaming show to tailspin its way into the mouth of a sarlacc is the viewership. The total minutes watched for The Acolyte were about 2.5 billion minutes. Now, that's pretty impressive when you think about it. But Ahsoka saw about 4.1 billion in total minutes watched, and Mando Season 3 was about 7.6 billion minutes watched. In fact, the 8 series that Disney has released since Mando Season 1, Acolyte is the lowest in total minutes watched to date of all of them. And I think we could talk for hours on why we think that is, but we're not going to do that today. So this data was published on Forbes.com and was sourced from Jar Jar Jargon via Reddit. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth. But when you look at the Luminate data, these numbers do track pretty close. So we'll take it as an air-quoted reputable source. While sad that we won't get to see more of Darth Plagueis or Manny Jacinto's arms anytime soon, this did get us thinking about our favorite canceled TV shows of the past. All right, so you guys ready for round 1? Let us start with, you know what, I'll start. My favorite canceled TV show, round 1. Do any of you guys remember Dirty Sexy Money on ABC? Oh, this was such a good show. All right,
Vaguely.
this show.
Yeah, I don't.
Vaguely. Yeah, this one. Okay, so let me just pull up my info. So Dirty Sexy Money aired 2007 to 2009. It was on ABC. It was only around for 2 seasons. It starred Peter Krause, who was in a lot of things. He was in 6 Feet Under, The Truman Show. He hasn't seemed to be doing a lot since then. It looks like 911, which I've never seen that one. He was on the Gilmore Girls. He's been in a ton of things, Peter Krause. Also starring Donald Sutherland, who's been in everything since the beginning of time, William Baldwin. So it had a pretty good cast. And the synopsis for the show is: the filthy rich Darling family asks idealistic attorney Nick George to become their personal lawyer, a job previously held by his late father, who died under mysterious circumstances. On the one hand, Nick will be earning more money, allowing him to expand his charitable inclinations. On the other, his new salary comes with strings. Dirty, sexy strings that may draw him into the web of his morally ambivalent New York power clan. So what I liked most about this show is that I think all of us, okay, I'll speak for myself. If you guys want to chime in, then by all means. I am fascinated by the wealthy. I am fascinated by the uber wealthy. You know, I went back in, I think, 1997, Bill Gates wrote this book, and as part of it came a CD-ROM that gave you a tour of his super high-tech mansion on that lake in Washington. But like that, you kind of got a glimpse into what it was like to be the world's richest person. And so I'm fascinated with this. And this show kind of gave you a behind-the-scenes look of a family that owned a portfolio of companies and were mega rich, you know, New York socialites and billionaires. And so you kind of got a behind the scenes look at that, which I thought was fascinating. Donald Sutherland played the patriarch of the family, and all of his children, his kind of snotty rich children. We followed their adventures, their wealthy adventures. But it was a good thriller mystery. The storyline was fun. But I don't think it just got the viewership that ABC needed back in 2007 to 2009, so it just dropped dead. We didn't get any resolution. Obviously, you never get that with a canceled TV show after a season ends, thinking that something's going to happen, and it'll probably never get picked up because, I mean, it's been 10 plus years, 15 years since it happened.
People have forgotten about this show.
People have forgotten about it. And it was funny, as I was kind of going through the list of shows that I wanted to talk about. I actually have a bunch of shows, but this one stood out the most because I really liked this show. It was a lot of fun. It is streaming, but you have to pay for it. You can get it on Apple TV Plus, I think Amazon Prime. I think each episode is like 99 cents or something like that. We'll leave the trailer to it in the show notes so you can check that out. I did pull up the Rotten Tomatoes. It actually did have a 68% average tomato meter, which is nice. I don't see any critics reviews or consensus or anything like that. But definitely check out the trailers. But I would love to see if I could have a fantasy land where there was a season 3 to wrap things up. I would love to see that. So there's this suspicion that Nick's father was killed by the rich family, and they bring him on to kind of make good. Although they never say that. It would have been a fun kind of twist to find out that the family in fact was behind it. And then Nick gets his comeuppance somehow or some way or another. So anyway, that's my round 1, Dirty Sexy Money. Check it out if you can. We'll leave you the trailer in the show notes. I'm surprised you guys didn't see this. It was such a good one.
How many episodes did this run again?
It was 2 seasons. I don't know how many. Let me see if the number of episodes are in the IMDb Pro. It was 2 seasons, episodes. It looks like each season had about 13 episodes, about 10 to 13 episodes, so 23 episodes.
That's a lot still.
2007 to 2009. So this was like pre-iPhone. This was like at the birth of the iPhone. That's what happened. The iPhone killed Dirty Sexy Money. Now we're denied.
It's the YouTube, man. It's the YouTubes.
The YouTubes killed it. All right, Nitro. What about you? What's on your round 1 for your favorite canceled show?
First show, and it seems to be on the forefront or in the side wings of social medias these days, but Rome, the TV show Rome. I thought it was a fantastic series. I think that I'm pretty positive that it was canceled because of budgetary reasons. But I mean, the synopsis of the show is basically it's a historical drama depicting the period of history surrounding the violent transformation of the Roman Empire, the Roman Republic into the Roman Empire. And we know that the crux of that is Julius Caesar ascension into power, becoming basically the ruler, the dictator, whatever you want to call it, of Rome. So the first season ends with, the assassination of Julius Caesar. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was a fantastic show. The production value was like extremely high for the time frame in history. Yeah, I mean, the acting, the scenes, I think they were shooting on locations, and this is before it became like super popular. So I guess they just did it where HBO at the time wasn't getting a return on its investment. But I mean, it was a fantastic show, and a lot of people thought that shouldn't have been canceled. The storyline was just picking up. We start getting into the Antony and Cleopatra thing and whatnot. So there was like a part of history that people really enjoyed watching. So that's my first pick.
And I'm sorry, what year was this?
When did it come out?
Yeah,
that's a good question. Rome TV.
Is this 2005? Bruno Heller, William McDonald.
2005. Yep, 2005 to 2007. 2 seasons.
Wow.
8.7 on IMDb and 86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And is it streaming anywhere right now, or do you have to pay for it?
It is. Well, you have to pay for a subscription to Max.
Right. Okay. Interesting. I'm wondering if now that Max has it available to stream, watching. I wonder if they look at who's watching these shows, and will it play into the possibility of bringing a show like that back? Because I feel like a show like Rome, because it's set in history, you could have anybody play these parts in essence, or do the next stage of the Roman Empire or the fall of Rome. But I'm curious if, since it's available on Max and they have a robust number of users, if they kind of look at that data and say, what, we have 2 million people watching Rome right now. We should probably maybe make a movie or bring that series back in a different form.
I mean, that'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting tidbit to find out, like how many people watch old series, and would it be enough to bring it back to life, so to speak? I don't know. I mean, interesting connection to the headline of our episode today. Ray Stevenson, who was in was it Ahsoka? He was in Ahsoka.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, Ahsoka. Yep.
Yep. So he sadly passed away last year.
Right.
But yeah, he became very popular because of the show. Mm-hmm. As well as Kevin McKidd, of Grey's Anatomy fame.
Okay.
So yeah, like lots of people got their quote unquote starts or like just boosted their things, and I don't know. It's just a very weird decision. I mean, obviously, financially responsible decision, but it was a very weird decision to cancel the show.
I feel like every few years. Wait, wasn't there like a whole theme, a meme, like a few months back around how middle-aged dudes all they think about is Rome?
Yeah, that's what I started with. The social media people are in the things. I think people are always thinking about the Roman Empire.
And to your point, I think to Anthony's point a little bit, like we get some Roman shows every few years. Like I just finished watching Those About to Die on Peacock. It's got Anthony Hopkins leading it. Like it's directed by who's that director from Independence Day? Roland Emmerich. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty epic cast / director whatever situation. But I don't think that's gonna last more than like 2 seasons. And then so I just feel like every few years there's someone else who wants to come and do some part of Roman's story. And by the way, I think to your earlier comment, this show is about like way past the story of Julius Caesar, right?
Oh,
And so it's still about gladiators, but it's about another period of time for Rome that no one really talked about.
Got it.
And by the way, a shout out to like the new upcoming Gladiator 2 that's coming out, right? Like I think we have enough Rome content that's happening throughout every few years.
Who is asking for this content? Who wants more Rome? Damn it!
Who wants more Gladiator?
Who sat down and said, you know what? We should bring back Gladiator. That was so big 20 years ago. Let's bring it back. Okay. I mean, that'll be interesting. We should do a. We should go. I'll check that one out when it comes out. Oh! Beetlejuice is coming out in 2 weeks. We should all go see that too. Anyway,
you only said it once.
What, Beetlejuice?
You only say Beetlejuice.
It's Beetlejuice. It's coming out in 2 weeks.
Beetlejuice. Oh, what happens if you say it 6 times? He gets confused and goes back.
Yeah. So, you guys watch The Ring, by the way, with the scary.
Oh yeah.
The Japanese movie and then the American remake.
Yeah.
I got real scared when the movie first came out. Like we talked about scared of Japanese ghost stories, and there was a running joke at that time that was like, "Well, look, if you're scared, just put another TV in front of it, and then the girl would just come back and forth into the TV and get out."
Nice.
And I go, "Yes, go back to the television."
That's amazing. All right, Nitro, thank you for that. Rome, go check it out on Max. All right, Eric, round us out with round 1. What is your missed, canceled show?
Firefly is the show that I wanted to kind of bring up. I mean, Joss Whedon made this. Gosh, I want to say this show was in like mid to late 2000s. And got canceled way before its time. Oh, there we go. Early, like 2002. And I'm bringing this up because this movie has had like a place in people's heart. For those who don't know, Firefly was a TV show that was very, very short run. There's maybe like, I only got like 14 episodes, and I think not all 14 aired, right? And it was one of those things where it was a very futuristic kind of space western kind of situation, world where people speak a mix of like Chinese and English, and it's got all these awesome people that unfortunately when it was airing, like nobody watched it, right? So you got like Nathan Fillion, you got like Alan Tudyk, you got like all these people that we've kind of come to know was in this show, and whereas it was really nice now to see when there's enough kind of audience love for a show like this, they can go to social media today and talk about it. There wasn't this mechanism to do that back in the days, right? Today, like maybe another streaming service swoops in and kind of rescue it. And I think Firefly really didn't capture people's imagination until it got to like DVDs, I think. And then what's awesome about this entire story is not only, first off, just story-wise in the whole story, it's really cool to see this cast almost like around this kind of Han Solo-like figure, kind of going through the world, tackling problems. But what's also really satisfying about the real life world of this entire thing is there's so much fan demand. They made a movie out of it, right? Which you cannot imagine back in maybe like the early to mid 2000s for this to have happened. And I think this might have been one of the first ones, if not the first one, that I feel like I know where, because of fandom, they brought back a property that was long thought dead, and had a nice closure to it. And so, Serenity was the movie that closed out the Firefly story, and there were like comic books and kind of tabletop games and all that kind of stuff that kind of popped out as a bunch of it. But it's one of those shows where if you haven't seen it, you should definitely see it, because I feel like a lot of what we see in sci-fi, and you'll notice a lot of familiar faces kind of in this show, and this is the beginning for a lot of these folks when they started doing kind of movies, TV shows kind of situation. So I want to bring that up because it's one of my favorite franchises that I feel like, and everyone agreed apparently, got canceled way too early.
And that was I know Josh Whedon did the film, directed and wrote the film. Oh, it looks like he was also the creator of the TV series itself.
Yeah,
It was
that's
so.
right.
Was it? It was only one season.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was one of those things where I don't remember, like, was there a strike in between there, or this is like early 2000s, like there we go, 2002 it premiered, and they aired like 11 episodes and then they canceled it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I don't know about strike. I remember there was a writer's strike in I think 2008 or 9, but maybe 2008. I don't know about actors strike though. I don't think there's been an actors strike until, I mean, previous to the one last year was like the 80s. So, but maybe there was a writer's strike. But that's a shame because the movie, so I'll admit I've never seen the series, but I'm going to go watch it. It looks like it's on Hulu. I have seen the film a couple of times, and it is a really fun film. But yeah, I didn't realize it was only on for one season. Wow.
Yeah, around that time, Fox was making a lot of questionable decisions. I think this was one, and a few years later, same thing with Josh Whedon. Dollhouse didn't, I think, last all that long either.
Okay.
And I'm sure there were a few other shows here and there that they were doing a lot of shuffles. They were doing a lot of, like, I guess Nielsen rating was terrible for this thing, so we're going to go ahead and cancel it. And, maybe that's what make it into a cult classic. And I don't know. Maybe some shows are better when it's canceled and people appreciate it a little bit more afterward. R.I.P. Acolyte.
What's the saying? If you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it was always yours. All right.
Which it's just fascinating, right? Because you don't know when, like, especially these days with the fans and how accessible that TV producers have and executives have to public opinion. Like back then, it was legit. Like Nielsen said it didn't perform well, so bye. Right. So,
and then with Acolyte, you have a bunch of knuckleheads review bombing it with the help of ChatGPT, and then bye-bye, whatever. Anyway, the good old days before the internet, where there was one point of truth, and that was Nielsen. Chris, did you watch Firefly? Were you a Firefly fan?
I didn't watch it when it aired, but I did watch it after the fact. I consumed everything, Serenity, Firefly, all that stuff. I thought it was a fantastic show. I actually got a little pissed off when Eric put it on his list, but he got to it before I did, so I was like, I gotta find other
sucker.
shows.
I was like, no one wrote this down yet. I'm gonna write this down.
This is what happens when you mute notifications, Nitro.
I didn't mute anything, okay? But yeah, that definitely, I mean, I share all the sentiments that Eric does too. It's a great show. I mean, like, cult classic. I don't know if anybody would come back to the project. I see things about Josh Whedon would start it up again. If anybody like reached out to him or something like that, I'm like, you would just have to do it, sir. Like, what do you mean you have to wait for people to reach out to you? Like, people would consume it. Again, would it suffer the same fate that this is not my Firefly? Possibly, because fans are jerks. So yeah, definitely up there on the list.
But looking at the cast of Firefly and knowing how their career has progressed, I feel like most of these guys will still say yes to coming back to this franchise. This is just a feeling I get, because it's like these actors are still in fairly similar genre for those who are still active. And I don't think none of them have hit it to the stage of like top primo, very expensive people yet. And I don't know, maybe they can make another movie out of it, like if there's enough demand of it all.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah, we're not afraid to go and make sequels long after the final episode of something. So yeah, all right, cool, good choice. All right, you all ready for round two? All right, so for my round two, and I've talked about this on a previous episode, probably on a What You Watchin'. I don't know how deep I got into it, but Loudermilk. So Loudermilk is currently streaming on Netflix. It's about Sam Loudermilk, played by, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name right now, and I don't have it. Ron Livingston, there he is. Sam Loudermilk is played by Ron Livingston. He's a former music critic and a recovering alcoholic, and he's also a substance abuse support group leader living in Seattle. He regularly doles out clever critiques to his critics, his friends, and any random person he interacts with. He is a grumpy dude with a heart of gold, steely gold alloy. This is a beautifully written show. It's a wonderfully acted show. It stars Ron Livingston, Will Sasso. He was in The Three Stooges. He was in Drop Dead Gorgeous, Mad TV. Anya Savsik, who hasn't really done a ton. She's done a lot of like TV and things like that, but she plays one of the protagonists as well. This show was originally on AT&T's Audience Network. If anybody remembers that experiment in 2000, I think it was 2017. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. And it came out for 2 seasons. It was renewed for a third, and then the AT&T Audience Network disappeared from everyone's mind in about 2018. But Amazon picked it up and was able to get the 3rd season produced and out the door. And they were going to do a 4th season, but they couldn't find any network to kind of help foot the bill for it. So it's available. There's 3 seasons. The last season definitely leaves you on a cliffhanger. So they were absolutely going to do a 4th season, but unfortunately, as of now, they have yet to find anyone to help produce it, which is a shame because it's well written, well acted. There are moments where you will laugh, you will cry. It's just very heartfelt show, so I thoroughly enjoy it. I think you can still watch it on Netflix. Like I said, you could probably purchase it on Amazon Prime. I'll leave the trailer and links in the show notes. Rotten Tomatoes, it had a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. 92%, which is a great score. So I hope they pick it up. Ron Livingston is a fantastic actor. He deserves some more time in the spotlight, and this certainly was a good spotlight for him. You guys didn't watch it, did you?
No, I'm reading right now the Audience Network, and I was like, what other show? I remember Audience Network when it was called Freeview. Like, this is ages ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at some of these shows that they have. I'm like, what is this shows? Half these shows I do not recognize. I've never heard of. Then it's funny because when you talk about Loudermilk, I had just assumed that it was from somewhere else.
Yeah.
I didn't know it kind of started on here, which is cool.
Yeah, it was homegrown for AT&T, and then AT&T screwed that up. And the rest is history. So, but yeah, definitely check it out if you're looking for a good watch. I don't remember how many disco balls I gave it, but it's a solid 4 for me. As a good show. It's just unfortunate that they literally left you with a cliffhanger. The 4th season would have been a very nice way to wrap up the entire story. So yeah, check it out. All right. Nitro, what's next in your canceled I miss it so much canceled list?
This show is more recent. It's also on Max. So I think it was, it wasn't HBO anymore at that point. I think it was HBO Max or something when this aired. But it was the TV show Watchmen. Not the film, but the TV series. It's the TV show set in an alternate history, which, like the movie, where masked vigilantes are treated as outlaws. Watchmen embraces the nostalgia of the original groundbreaking graphic novel of the same name while attempting to break new ground of its own, is the synopsis that I got. So yeah, it's in the world of Watchmen, but it revolves around these police detectives that are basically hiding the fact that they're superheroes, and it was a really good show. Like it I don't think anything negative was said about it. I don't know what happened or why it was canceled. I didn't even Google or anything like that. But it was in 2019. There was 9 episodes. starred Regina King. Don Johnson was in it. Just really good actors and actresses in it. And touched on the film. So we brought in a couple of actors from the film series that were kind of timeless and whatnot. So it takes Jeremy Irons is in it. Again, I loved the comic book The Watchmen. I love the comic book The Watchmen, I should say. The graphic novel. I don't like. It was fantastic. Show was great.
Yeah.
And it was just canceled. I don't know.
So I looked it up. So I think I saw the first episode. I didn't watch it past that, and I've watched part of the movie. I've never seen the full movie. They are on my list, and maybe I'll add them to my queue as I'm flying the entire month of September. But it looks like the showrunner, Damon Lindelof, he left his role as showrunner after the first season because he felt that he completed his intended story. So HBO changed the status of it to a limited series instead of a regular series. And that kind of nixed any possibility of future installments. And since Lindelof doesn't feel like coming back at all, it sounds like HBO will never greenlight another season. The CEO of HBO content at the time of 2023 said Watchmen was so much his creation, they can't imagine doing it without him. So so it just sounds like he told his story and he's out, which is a shame because as you continue looking through like these different Reddits and whatnot, people really had an affinity for it and could have used more. So that's a shame. I mean, good that he felt like he completed his story, but it's a shame that you leave your fans hanging like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of talented people out there that could definitely pick this up and make it their own thing. It's almost like any kind of wider universe of heroes, right? You pick up on a little niche thing, and this is the daughter of something, or like there's a generational thing happening in the Watchmen where like you have flashbacks and the birth of superheroes and the golden age and the bronze age and the silver age and all these things, and the Watchmen universe had those levels to it, right? So just saying like HBO to be like, nope, we're not doing this anymore, I think that's a very bad decision. I mean, to his credit, yes, he did a fantastic job, but to say like I'm done with this and HBO to make the decision to say no, we're not touching it, that's terrible in my opinion. Because, like you said, you're seeing things online where people are like, "We want more."
Yeah.
Did you guys know there's a Watchmen animated movie that just came out?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, Watchmen Chapter 1 is on Amazon Prime, I think.
Oh no way. Well, maybe this will satisfy the need of the fans. Yeah, I need to give
different.
Watchmen a try.
The series or the film?
Both. I want to see both because I've never actually finished the movie, and I only saw the first episode and I liked it. I just don't know why I didn't ever continue on with it.
Yeah, watch it, man.
Should I
get it? Watchmen.
Watchmen.
Did you read the book?
I get what you're doing. I got it. No, I didn't read the book either.
I unfriend you.
What the? Is my card again revoked?
We're gonna give you a learner's permit now.
Thank you. I've been downgraded to learner's permit. Jaminy
Christmas. Oh, this is some nice visual art. What's interesting? You just said about people want to do it, but the networks don't want to do it. There's also the opposite of networks wanting to do it, and people go, well, the story's done. Like, I am done with this story. Just because it keeps making money doesn't mean I want to continue the story. Because this morning I was just reading Ted Lasso. Like Jason Sudeikis has pretty much said, like, we've told the story we want to tell.
Exactly.
But I think there's so much money and love for the franchise. Apparently, who is it? Apple?
Mm-hmm.
And people found out about it through these kind of legal documents because they have requested the British actors, I think there's some British Actor Guild rule, requested like for them to sign back on. They want to get their interest. Yeah. And I think they need to do the same thing with the American leads before they go, all right, maybe I can tell whatever, fourth season or whatever, which sometimes I feel like you just let good lie, just this is good. Like, we're good. We don't need to do more of this thing.
That's what happened with House of Cards. It happened with Orange is the New Black. Is like they told a really good story, but they were such a cash cow for Netflix that they're like, we need to make more. And like once you get past a certain point, it's like, okay, this is like, I don't even think I finished the last season of Orange is the New Black because I was like, this story doesn't interest me anymore. They told their story that I wanted to hear. Same with House of Cards. I've never seen the last season of House of Cards where Buttercup, what's her name?
Robin Wright.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robin Wright became president or whatever.
Buttercup.
The worst part is we all knew you're talking about her.
Buttercup sounds like a horse. You could have said Princess Buttercup at least.
Dear
Also
Robin
sound
Wright.
like a horse.
Dear Robin Wright. Yeah, Princess Buttercup sounds like a chihuahua. All right. Dear Robin Wright, I'm sorry. All right. Eric, take us home. What's your round 2 canceled show that you wish had never been canceled?
This one definitely needed to have continued, but this is a show called Kings. And I don't know. I think Chris knows what this is. NBC had it in around like the 2009 kind of time period.
Okay.
This show had like, I want to say, a few episodes before NBC decided to start shuffling around on the schedule and canceled it like within first season. This is actually my introduction to Ian McShane. As in, like, I've seen him in things, but this is the first like memorable one where I go, I love this guy. So for those who don't know, Kings is pretty much talking about the story. It's I don't want to say a retelling, but it's a take on the story of a biblical story of King David. And you start with like a young David being a soldier, and it sets in like modern world, like let's say Cold War era, New York City. Maybe that's a good way to think about it.
That's fun. Okay.
And what's interesting was when they were filming Kings, they filmed part of it on Roosevelt Island. And I lived on Roosevelt Island when that was happening because they were apparently location scouting for Cold War era looking buildings. And apparently where I lived is very Cold War era looking. And so there's that part of it. I remember when that show was coming out, it was one of those things where you feel like this is one of the most high budget shows you have ever seen. I think at that time they did some promos around the city. Like the show had like a barrier with like a very young, like Sebastian Stan. Like there's all these kind of folks that are in there. And I just remember watching the shows and thinking, wow, I have never seen anything like this on television. Like I'm sure if I go back and watch it now, it will feel like some of the streaming shows that's happening today. And it's unfortunate because it was actually a really cool show and I really liked it, and they just unceremoniously canceled it. And I'll tell you, like, this is how much people love it. Like, you're talking about, well, this is before the days of when Rotten Tomatoes really become like a thing, apparently, because you got 100% popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes. So fans are still going back and talking about this show. Like there's 0 rating for Rotten Tomatoes because they didn't get a chance to look at it. But absolutely, like, fantastic show. Like I like the show so much, I bought DVDs of it just to make sure that it doesn't go away. And was I gave it to somebody, and I don't have it anymore. But it was I really liked it. Chris, I saw you nodding. Did you also like the show? Did you watch the show?
I did watch the show. I did remember liking it. I am disappointed though that that's your first exposure to Ian McShane. Okay, because Deadwood. I didn't go down that road for Ian McShane. Deadwood was he was extremely amazing at Deadwood. But yes, Kings was a very, very, very good show.
Never saw it. It looks like it's. Is it streaming on YouTube? When you Google it, let's see. What happens?
I think you have Amazon. I think of Amazon
TV.
Prime. I think about
Amazon Prime. Yeah. Okay.
Which, by the way, I think Ian McShane has a knack for picking shows that get canceled because I don't think they finished American Gods either, did they? That was another
I did not like that show. I loved the book. The book is fantastic. The show, couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, okay. Well, cool. Well, we'll leave the trailer for that in the show notes as well. Yeah, I was not aware of this. And I was doing a lot of acting back in 2009 too, but and if it was filmed in New York, it probably came across I probably saw a breakdown for it or something. But I definitely
maybe you were in the background somewhere and you just don't know about it.
It's possible. It's possible. I did a lot of background I did a lot of things that I don't remember, and then I'll like appear on screen one day, and it's like, oh, I remember that. All right, cool, good shows, guys. It's sad. Rest in peace, all of these. We hope that in rerun they get some good rewatches, and maybe their stories will be continued someday. So thanks for your sharing today. Folks listening, if you have a favorite show that was taken from us too soon, well, let us know about it. Share it with us. And for bonus points, write some fan fiction on how you would have liked to have seen it end. Email us at mailbag@geekyagogo.com. Let me do that one again.
It's better.
It's better, right? Email
it's not
us.
mail blog.
Mail blog. Oh, my God. Email us at mailbag@geekyagogo.com, and we may feature it on a future episode. Well, that's our show for today. Do you want more Geeky Go-Go? Well, make sure you're following us on all the socials at Geeky Go-Go. Want cool stuff? Want to connect with us on a higher level, like on our Discord server, or get additional content from today's episode at our members-only after party? Well, head on over to patreon.com/geekygogo and support the show. You'll get awesome swag and other perks. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're following the show on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. Thanks so much for listening, and you stay geeky, Internet.
Bye.
Bye.